And welcome back. And welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most angry instructor in all of YouTube entertainment today, which is kind of like what I was when I instructed. Like, I really connect with Johnny because, in a sense, our
Because
teaching
you're an
styles were the same.
alcoholic?
And I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, I'm watching Cobra Kai and I go, damn, how come I never liked LaRusso? How come I always gravitated more towards Johnny Lawrence? And I'm looking at, oh yeah, he didn't he didn't go to college. He partied through his 20s. He drinks a lot. He calls kids names and beats them. Oh
Do you
shit.
drink banquets? The banquets? What the fuck is
Coors, the
Bud?
banquet beer. God, it's been a long time since I had a regular Coors. Nobody fucking drinks that. This isn't Colorado.
Apparently, our favorite instructor, Mr. Lawrence, does. But, anyways, we're going to jump into that because this is a double review. And why I'm doing two is because I want to show the difference in writing structure and how you write something good as opposed to something with lots of gaping plot holes and.
That's subjective. Wonder Woman.
And of course, we have my favorite troll, Mr. Perp Minded, with us tonight. If you guys don't know,
by the way, congratulations on the 500. You know what I'm saying?
oh man, thank you. I wanted to also. We got some people who have recently joined.
Did you give a shout out to Amber Heard on pushing you over 500?
Oh, that's the only good thing this bitch has done for anyone. But no, I've been passionate about it, and there's a lot of aspects that I've incorporated with my channel, not just Amber, but Hollywood systematically destroying good people in general and how it's being exposed, and I really appreciate all of these great people, and they're actually here for Cobra Kai, man. They're here to hear about Johnny Lawrence.
That's because it never dies.
Never dies, man. And Geekocidal Tendencies brought up a good point. Would it be called Miyagi Fang Dojo? You'll get that joke later, PB. I hope not, because that is a mouthful. We got Geekocidal Tendencies. Welcome, Jamie Vick. Welcome, JD Fan for Life. Welcome, Lemon Pie. Welcome, Happy Dinosaur 8000. Still coming through. Welcome.
Oh, Geekocidal Tendencies says, I highly doubt Johnny Lawrence ever owned a Baby Yoda. Zod.
He would. He would be like, yo, Baby Yoda's a pussy, but he'd have him in the corner. Like, he'd be like, Sensei, is that a Baby Yoda? He'd be like, shut up. But no, we have some great stuff to talk about because here's the funny part about both these things we're going to be talking about. The critics are attacking.
Yeah, that's my fucking asshole dogs. They're fighting like a bunch of pricks.
And the critics, they're both attacking Wonder Woman 1984, and they're attacking Cobra Kai Season 3. I've read some reviews about some people saying that, oh, it's gotten corny, and it doesn't have the same...
Wait. Did they really say that it's gotten corny? It's always been corny.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're trying to say, oh, it's becoming Karate Kid 3. And now I went back through and I watched that movie again, and watching it after seeing this season, I said, Karate Kid 3 actually wasn't that bad. It's amazing that the critics are so out of touch with people. And I feel like when you have a show that does legacy characters right, like this whole thing with the Mandalorian going on and everything else, the critics don't want to acknowledge that they're the failures sucked, so they want to tear down directors and creators who are paying respect to the material that their shows are based off of. This show has done the best in passing the torch onto characters that I think we've seen in years. This is what Star Wars should have done, and Cobra Kai has done it seemingly. They've taken a show and made us care about the new characters just as much as the old characters. Wouldn't you agree with that, Perp?
Repeat that last part real quick.
Well, we came back just in time not to answer you.
I was saying Cobra Kai has done what a lot of franchises don't do.
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah,
the-
yeah. I got yep, exactly. You hit it on the
they-
nail.
this motherfucker. I've missed you so much.
Holy fucking shit! Oh my god! Oh, that sounded like a different black YouTuber I know. Yep, exactly. Yep.
But like Cobra Kai gets it right where a lot of these shows like they want to replicate it Mandalorian but failed to do it. But
now I know you're just trolling.
Nah, bro. That finale was mid.
Mid? Oh my god,
Yes.
this guy.
Compared to Cobra Kai.
Like it was. That's not my Luke Skywalker. My Luke Skywalker gets knocked down by untrained women. That's my Luke.
I have a feeling this discussion is for another day, but why I'm comparing these two is because this film had a lot of hype, and Cobra Kai had a lot of hype, but I felt like one of them did a better job with our expectations. Because God, I hate using that other word.
Subverting your expectations.
Yep. Than the other. I think that both have been fairly unfairly critiqued. I do believe that Wonder Woman has a lot of fucking issues, but this bullshit that them coming out saying, and we were talking about this earlier, Perp, them saying that it's worse than Captain Marvel. No, like I don't put this movie,
but people that say that it's like Captain Marvel's a better movie, like they can't explain why. I'm like, how? Explain to me how exactly. How is a superhero movie boring and it's better than? Because at least Wonder Woman, what is it? 84 was entertaining. I never was really bored throughout the whole movie. Now Captain Marvel, that literally has no villain, and she's just trash.
Like, I think it's an unfair.
It depends on who the hero of Captain Marvel is. If the hero of Captain Marvel is Nick Fury's eyeball, then it most certainly has a villain.
I like what Geeky Style Tendency says. He says it's an 80s inspired TV show. No, to douchebag critics, everything in the 80s was glorious cheese. Exactly. And here's where, like, we can compare between this and Wonder Woman is that Wonder Woman has an 80s theme. Cobra Kai has an 80s theme. But I think that Cobra Kai also is based in the modern times, using the 80s as a point of reference to how out of touch the adult characters are, because they're kind of stuck in that time loop. It's still a modern type of setting where Wonder Woman is literally the 80s, and yet I felt like it kind of just glazes over what the 80s is.
Definitely
and doesn't understand it.
Seem like a modern setting when they're comparing. Well, they're using Steve Trevor as the comparison, and he's from like 1916.
I'm glad that they didn't overdo the 80s thing, though, because we've seen that time and time again where they just overly do the 80s and shit. Like, all right, we understand this is the fucking 80s. Like, you don't have to keep telling us, like, oh, like.
Well, I said to my wife, about you said they didn't overdo the 80s. I would agree with that, but I think that they have a good chance of winning some type of what do I want to say, Oscar for costume design or set
Yeah.
design or something like that, because you could tell the entire movie that they were in the 80s.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and I want to just give a shout out to Gary Robinson. I was on a stream with him and Rob Rules, and they actually made me a theme song. So Gary's currently working on that theme song for my
Gary
channel.
North.
Gary Robinson, and
Who the hell's Gary
what else? Good to
Robinson?
see you.
Is
This
that like
guy.
He
Craig Robinson's cheap cousin?
No, did you guys hear Stevie J's intro for his videos now? He is
Hmm.
the guy who sings the intro.
No,
Oh.
because Stevie only talks about one subject that I don't care about.
Well,
Shout
I
out to
mean,
Steve.
that being the case, this is the man who did the music, and he's very talented. And he actually just on the fly came up with a theme song for General Zod. So he's still working on it, but
That's what's up.
I can't wait to use it for my videos. So thank you very
It,
much,
it
sir.
has to have, it has to have like a Nazi theme to it, just to fit like
Oh God, a
just to fit
black
the
man
tone.
calling for a Nazi theme. At least I won't be shut down because then that would be discrimination. So, this is how you stay safe from the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, uh, and Gary's a good sport. He said Craig Robinson's cousin, laughing emojis. So, welcome. Anyways, yeah. So, in terms of how they do the '80s feel, I just think personally, while Wonder Woman is literally set in the '80s, I think Cobra Kai has the way that they do the nostalgia more tightly, and they've had two
I agree.
seasons to tighten up, but the way that they do it, it wasn't like in your face, like you're in the '80s, like it's subtle.
I wanna throw something at, like, I see a lot of people complaining about the tone. They say like, oh, it's a completely different tone than the first movie. I'm like, no, no shit, Sherlock. It's the '80s.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with the tone. I didn't have a problem with uh you know them wanting to do that. Where I had
Hmm.
the issues was the inconsistency within the story, the limits of the object. There's like no clear
But
it's like
before you continue that, you make a good point about inconsistencies. And as dope as Infinity War and Endgame were, how many inconsistencies did those movies have? And people praise those shits.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
no
whoa, whoa,
we
whoa. Hold on. You cannot wrap Infinity War in with Endgame. Endgame
Alright,
is a time travel movie. Infinity War is epic.
but they still both have inconsistencies.
What are the inconsistencies in Infinity War?
Like, how the fuck does Thor throw this what was that Stormbreaker
It's a
and
magical axe.
yeah, but obviously the Infinity Stones were more powerful. But then you go to Endgame and he's whooping these motherfuckers' asses without no stones.
I mean
I okay. Like I said, that's a problem with Endgame, not with Infinity War.
he does. Both of you actually have pretty valid and great points, but let's swing this back around so we don't go
Because
down
I was
this rabbit
just saying,
hole, because that's a stream for another day.
yeah, I was
um
just saying because like you were talking about inconsistencies in the stone, and there's a magical stone in this one, so like there's always going to be inconsistencies with stones and shit. Like,
but see, here's the thing, that the rules seem to only fit when the scene needed it to fit. Like, there were a lot of points where there was a lot of what we in the trade call plot convenience. Like things just happen by chance, like by big
Mm-hmm.
fucking coincidence, and it makes for poor storytelling, because if you have a tight story, you shouldn't happen to have to accidentally put characters in a place at a specific time. They just happen to be where the villain is. Like, come on, there's no explanation for having Wonder Woman to just happen to be in the fucking Middle East and just happen to literally pass by the bad guy. I've never seen that shit in a movie before. That was the
You
biggest
have seen that,
fucking
but
coincidence.
but to counter that, you have seen that in 80s movies. Everything is pretty convenient in a lot of these 80s movies. They're pretty
Yeah.
predictable.
All right, that's a pretty good counterpoint. If we're going with the '80s theme, we could argue, oh yeah, that is how it's shot, '80s movies. But see, now swinging back to Cobra Kai,
Hmm.
never in the show do I ever feel like the characters need a convenient excuse to be in a place. Like when you follow how events happen, and even for PB who hasn't watched all of the new season, just take the old
What?
seasons.
Stop
Take the
giving
old.
secrets away. They didn't know
Take.
that. You said we were gonna bullshit our way all the way through this, you motherfucker. I mean, that's like you calling me 4 hours before the stream because I send you a hilarious message about somebody. That's all we're gonna say about that. And then we start talking and talking, and I was like, dude, we need to stop talking because we're gonna waste all of our material that we're gonna use on the stream. So goodbye.
Very, very true.
Yeah, that was true. But here's a difference, and I know it's a show versus a movie, but it's still the point of writing, is that if you take a
You,
show like Cobra Kai, you can see where no one really meets by accident. There's always an event, or there's always a logical sort of point, except for the season 2 brawl. I always maintain that was kind of ridiculous, but up to that point, there was always a logical way that characters get from point A to point B, that things happen
mm,
in a specific order that leads you to the event, right? And Wonder Woman, I swear to God, there's a scene literally where Diana's in the fucking Middle East and then she's just magically back in the States. I'm like, what? Was there an edit
they do
there
that
that I
shit in
missed?
they do that shit in TV all the time. Be like, yo, great example,
But
Power.
not in a
Like,
fucking $250 million movie.
hey, there's plenty of movies where like, hey, all of a sudden we're at Dagobah, and then all of a sudden we're on Tatooine. But it took like 2 seconds for light speed. Light
Yeah, it's
speed.
Right.
called a screen wipe. I mean, we didn't even get that. And that is see, there's clear differences, but yet the funny part is the critics are hitting both of these with the same exact argument, which is why I brought them up tonight, that the writing is inconsistent in both. They both have, you know, cheesy themes and things like that. And it's kind of funny because I feel like the critics uh, don't get it. They're so out of touch that like they use the same exact review for everything. Like, look at a
Are these
movie.
are these the same critics that like movies like Booksmart?
Oh my god, yeah.
You talking about fucking Chris Stuckman again?
No, I actually like Stuckman and
I know
and
you do. Nobody
my love.
knows why, but I know you do. That's why I figured
Somebody-
you were talking about him again, because he's a
Somebody
air quote professional critic.
somebody to bring up Gary Robinson's point, somebody did point out that they did something similar in Xena, as far as like using the magic to possess somebody else's body, so you don't see the actual person. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yep.
not the actual person, but it's like a mirage kind of thing, whatever. But
And Gary brought up a great point, which me and PB were talking about earlier. At General Zod, my question for WW84 is why did Steve Trevor have to possess another man's body when everything else magically
I,
appears?
I got a
Exactly.
I have a great counter to that. When would you care if you were that guy that she thought was Steve Trevor? You get to bang Wonder Woman?
Yeah, if I don't remember it, everybody else remembered everything except for that guy. So that guy got to
Yep.
sleep with the hottest woman on earth and doesn't remember it. That's the biggest fucking crime of this movie.
No, that guy's gonna think he got fucking abducted by aliens because he's gonna have missed a week and wake up on the street and be like, "How the fuck did I get here? And why am I wearing this ridiculous outfit?"
Like, and this is what I mean. And then watching Cobra Kai today and seeing like I was on an emotional roller coaster, perp, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just
Dog,
like
that finale
night
was
and day
fucking
riding.
amazing.
Oh my god, yeah, seeing the dude from Karate Kid 3, the Japanese guy, like the character development, the way the story was being told, the way it like they took this thing with the school brawl and PB, you know, they made it realistic because that he went to juvie and Miguel couldn't walk. That's
Because
about it.
I was gonna say you've seen a lot of kung fu brawls in high school, right, General? A lot of shit
Yeah,
happens on
like
Candor we're not privy to.
yeah, yeah. That I mean, you know, um that is like because okay, yes, that could never happen in real life, and you know, but I like the
You
fact
don't
that
know that.
they realized okay, I'm a arts instructor.
I'm saying
Perfection could never
not to
happen
extent
in real
where
life.
not to extent where everybody's using karate, but like you've definitely seen huge school brawls where people are just wailing at each other and stuff. Like looks like
Yeah, they didn't
Okay,
appreciate that call on the football field, and the parents went all in.
but but here's the thing though that I like. They pulled it back and they gave real world consequences, not just to the students, but to the parents too, because the car dealership suffers in sales, things like that. Like I like how they were able to still incorporate like what would happen. Like who thought that shit with them promoting safe spaces and shit is hilarious. Like a guidance counselor, my girl walked past and she goes, "What the fuck are they talking about?" I go, "Yep, I know." And the guidance counselor is like, "Respect the safe spaces," and I'm like, "Yep, that's 2020." Like I think that was a very smart move because when I saw that brawl in season 2, I liked it, but I go, they really painted themselves in a corner because you based your show off of kind of being real world, but with the Karate Kid, and now you've created this like brawl that could never actually realistically happen to that extent. So
Why
how are
not?
you going to
All
pull
of
it
these
back?
kids have been radicalized in the creep
right.
school.
No, but I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. Shit like that wouldn't. I mean, but then again, we've had school shootings. Who the fuck knows in this era? But
Stranger things have happened. I mean, were you not awake on November 4th?
Yeah, that
yeah,
was weird.
yeah,
That was a weird day.
Okay,
yeah,
That was the
that was a
enough
episode
weird
of
day.
said.
Twilight Zone.
Stranger things have happened.
Is
But
that
I
a
mean,
pun?
I'm just
yeah,
glad that they didn't move the scars on her arm to a little higher up the arm for, aesthetic purposes. Fuck you,
oh
Ryan
yeah,
Johnson.
yeah.
Hey
I
man,
like they kept them scars exactly where she got cut. Like everything you can tell, and that's what I mean. Okay, now swinging back to Wonder Woman. Uh, every detail in the show mirrors something that's happened, and it's like the writers remember what they wrote and then they like swing back to it. In Wonder Woman there's a lot of inconsistencies even
Like what?
even within the story itself. Like for instance, and I don't know if this is explained, I mean I've only watched the movie once, but how in the world does everyone only get one wish and Minerva got two? Like,
But
from my
no,
understanding, it was only one wish per customer.
we don't
Was
know
that not
exactly.
established?
We don't know exactly what she wished for. All she said was an apex predator. She could have said some extra shit. I think she found a loophole, and that's why she's probably still Cheetah. She could probably turn her off and on, but because I feel like she's gonna be in three. She's definitely gonna be in
I
one of
mean,
three.
everybody's overlooking the most obvious solution, which is in the movie, he has other people wishing for third party outcomes. So why couldn't he just find some fucking janitor who didn't have a wish yet and say, hey, wish for her to be an apex predator? Boom.
And that's what I mean, Perp. That it's not that okay. It's not that the story doesn't have potential to be great, because on paper the story's pretty solid. I like the idea. I liked everything right up to the announcement. It's not the story necessarily has a problem with what they're doing. It's the way that they tell it, and it's the way that it's structured in the movie. Um, it feels like
Well,
it should have been tightened up.
where in the movie did it say that you could make more, like that you can't make more than one wish?
It's in the lore. I mean, okay, if you're going by theoretically, okay, and we as an audience are just supposed to fucking figure this out because they don't say it in the movie. If you go by the monkey paw legend, then yes, theoretically, people can have three wishes according to the story. That would fix the loophole with the second wish. The problem with that theory is, though, it's not ever
Because
verbally specified, and that's where
I
you
looked
have
at
the
it.
issue.
I looked at it as just a wishing stone. Like you could make as many wishes as you want, but
But
it's
see,
gonna
that's
keep.
not said
It's
one
gonna
way
keep.
or another. Everyone
But
just
it's
makes one wish. So that leaves the audience to assume that it's only one wish. So when someone makes two wishes, then you're sitting back going, well, wait, no one said you can make multiple wishes. And if that's the case, why does he need to
It's
broadcast to
most
everyone?
definitely alluded to that you only get one wish because when he's going through the office, he runs into somebody and they try to wish for something and nothing happens. And he goes, oh, did I do your wish already? And he moves on.
So I mean, that's where
I
I'm
mean,
saying there's
that's how you're supposed to technically make a movie. Is you're not supposed to just come out and say, "Oh, here's the stone. It gives you one wish. Okay, let's move forward." No, you show something happening that gives you that information, and I believe that is that scene.
so. Do you? Because how do you guys feel about the consequences of the wishes? Kind of depowering Wonder Woman or
Oh,
Diana.
I thought that would have been great if they would have went all in. See, that was another
N-
inconsistency. Sometimes she had strength, sometimes she didn't. It was almost like if the plot needed her to
She
have
was she
strength,
was she was
she had it.
she was slowly losing her strength. But one inconsistency with the story I can agree with is when she just thought about it and then say it out loud. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, and see, that's
I
the
guess
difference
I guess
between.
because actually because like she could that could have kind of worked because she was holding the stone. It wasn't like it was in her presence or anything like that. Like she was holding it. So I don't know.
Uh, Gary had a question for you, Perp. He said, at Perp, from my understanding, he had to be able to take something from the person making the wishes too. I don't know, a lot of inconsistencies. Yeah, which is another thing too. They lose something to gain something. See, and that's when you do a story like this, and we were talking about it because you could relate it closely to Stargate when the ghoul take over someone. You have to have, even if you don't explain it, you have to have visually uh,
Well,
where people can see what the rules are, so they have it in their
Well,
mind.
they kind of explained it with the whole the god of was it the god of mischief or not, and that's what he does is trick people. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that goes into you could wish for anything that you want, but it's gonna cost you. You know what I'm saying? Like it would have cost Maxwell his life, or we don't know exactly. And maybe that was the cost of her being an apex predator. I'm talking about cheetah. She turned into a cheetah. That's probably her. You know what I'm saying? Her curse and like the trade off to that, she has to become a cat. And did you
And
notice? Did you notice in that when the one dude that tried to like fondle her popped up again? You saw all those people like literally catcalling her. I'm using air quotes like
yeah,
catcalling. Did you notice that? That was fun.
it was just, there was a lot of things that, and I mean, here's the thing that bugged me the most about this is that they're simple fixes, really. I mean, just little things that they could have did to just tighten the story up. Because honestly, I don't think it has a bad message. It has no woke politics in it. It,
Yeah,
it was just
I don't,
story.
I don't see the whole Donald Trump thing with Maxwell at all. I
Oh,
don't
there
see that.
was definitely some connections.
Da,
Where
PB
da, da, da,
can
da, da,
illuminate
da.
that.
Oh, whoa. Hold on. The character of Maxwell Lord is built upon multiple Netflix, let's call them air quote, documentaries that are essentially just hit pieces on Donald Trump. And whoever decided to make his character the way that they made him watched these hit pieces and said, oh, we'll just do that because there are multiple things. Like, I don't know, when he first gets to his offices and he goes upstairs and the offices are completely fucking empty and there's only one lady working for him. Literally pulled right from the Netflix documentary bullcrap. Pulled right
that
from
is
there.
that's a
So
that
that's where
I don't
they
know.
get this caricature of Donald Trump from, because they would like to just, look at one narrow perspective instead of looking
Uh,
at the whole story, which is why a lot of people are not going to see this character be him because they're like, oh, well, that's not how he is. That's not how I remember him being. But I bet if you watch, it was The Great Hack, and then there was another one. I couldn't remember the name of it, and I couldn't find it before the stream.
You
You'll see exactly the inspiration.
you want to hear a theory I have, Zod?
Sure.
Because I feel like this movie is teasing something for the third movie, maybe. I was thinking, even though I hate Alistair, I think he's like a really bland child actor. Um, and it's interesting, like, who's your mother? That's what I was thinking. I was like, who could possibly be his
Oh,
mother? Could
that's
his mother
interesting.
be
They didn't bring that.
who
Wait, whose
could
mother?
Alistair's? Because he's
The
Asian.
kid from
He's kind of
Maxwell Lord's
Asian.
son.
He's kind of like Asian mixed with like fucking Latino and shit. Like, so what if his mother is like Cersei or something like that?
That would be intriguing. That would
Because
definitely
that
Why,
tie
why
everything
would
together.
why would the original Wonder Woman, lower her standards?
mm, but I feel like that's what they're kind of building towards in for Wonder Woman 3. It's gonna be Cersei or something like that.
Now,
Geekasolo Tendency says it's a Marvel crossover because his mother is Captain Marvel.
Hilarious.
talking about that kind of stuff, there
Did
have
you see?
been multiple. What was that, Perp?
No, I was saying, did you see that meme that like people are saying that little black girl in that Ray Ray whatever? Uh, in that movie was Amanda Waller as a child.
That's hilarious.
Okay, but I
Oh,
want to swing things back around. So now that we've got through the Wonder Woman stuff, let's talk about the real show now. Cobra Kai. Let me tell you.
We talked about Cobra Kai a whole bunch. You act like we haven't been talking about it at all. We only been talking about Wonder Woman so far. What fucking stream have I been in?
we're not gonna spoil nothing for you, PB, because
No,
you
no,
don't.
we're going to do some non-spoilers here, just in case we have people who pop in and don't want to be spoiled. But let me just say, uh, this has
All
been
I say,
some tight writing.
all I want to say is I don't need notes. I shoot from the hip. That was bars right there. Shouts to Johnny.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So, um, we've talked about the highlights here. If you guys seen season two, there are repercussions. And first, I want to highlight, because I know PB's gotten through this, is that I like how there are consequences in this show. Like, Miguel is not recovering like right away. Like, there's real
Mhm.
world consequences to what happened to him. And I really like how
Well, I'm just glad if he's not going to recover, he's already on this side of the wall.
yeah, I love Miguel.
Hilarious.
I gotta say, you son of a bitch. I have to say, the one thing this show does great is that I never saw myself caring for these characters when I first started watching the show. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
it's gonna be a
That's because you're a
teenage
heartless
drama.
villain, you prick.
I know. And I was like, a villain is not going to care about that. Show me more Johnny. That's my boy right there. And then the show started going on, and I found a funny thing happening. I was actually caring about this high school bullshit. Like, oh my God, girl, did he just do that with your man? Oh no, she didn't. That little hussy.
Little hussy. Hilarious.
Oh
You
my
know,
god.
speaking of liking characters, one character I still do not like, and this season has just definitely like solidified
Angry
my
fro
dislike.
bitch?
No, Sam. I do not like Sam.
Wait,
I
which one's
have
Sam?
mixed
Samantha.
LaRusso's daughter.
Oh, okay.
She
I
is a pussy.
No, I actually I have to disagree with you.
What?
I I suffered through PTSD. I still do. I still wake up in the middle of the
Whoa,
night.
whoa, whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa. I believe Bitchy Unicorn is the one suffering through your PTSD.
yeah, she does too. But I like that arc because it shows what it's like when you have trauma, and that was trauma in that season. And I liked that she actually had a meaningful arc, because last season I just felt like she was a cunt. Oh,
She
sorry,
only
Jamie, but she was.
she only had PTSD when a certain character popped up. She had all this.
No, she
She's
had it
all been.
throughout the.
That's
No,
how
you're
PTSD
wrong.
works. It
You're
only
wrong.
works
She
off
had it through the
triggers.
whole thing, because when she came back in the very first episode and touched the banister, she had the flashback and had to leave. So no, she had it throughout the whole thing. It was
But no, but after
just like in real life.
she got
Situations triggered it.
she got over that very quickly, like the whole banister
No,
thing.
she didn't
But
get over it till like the sixth
yes, she did.
episode.
No. She look. You remember? I forget where. I'm making sure I don't spoil this for PB. But there's a scene where one of the Miyagi-Do kids students calls up her and says like, "Yo, Cobra Kai people are fucking with us. Come pull up." She had all this smoke, and they were whooping people's ass. But as soon as one person pulled up, she didn't want no smoke.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Triggers, because she was the main girl who she fought in season two, and that's a trigger for it. There's certain things when you go through an
Zod's an
experience
idiot,
like
perp.
that. So no, it made, and it wasn't just one
No,
scene. She
I'm
had
talking
several.
about the fact that I didn't know what Perp was talking about. And then you said, Oh, the person she fought in season 2. You dick.
You
See, I'm
already knew
asking,
because you've seen season 2.
I know, but I didn't know what he was talking about in season 3.
That's what we're
You
talking
still
about.
don't.
Oh my god. Yes, I do.
No,
You
you
want
think
me
you
to
do.
say it out loud? Like, I didn't have it figured out that you were talking about the bitch that gave her the scars having PTSD through the whole season until Zod gave it away. Is that clear enough for you, Zod?
No, see, you still don't kind of got where I'm going with this. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anymore. I never thought
Yeah,
I'd be
don't
the
say
one.
anymore since I got it exactly right. I agree. Move on.
You don't have it exactly right.
Oh, and they explain what happened to Aisha. That's her name, right? 'Cause a lot of people's like, "Oh, who's that fat black chick?" Like, she obviously got fired. I like that shit. That they just said, "Hey, she went to a private school. She no longer goes here." That's how they
I
read.
I know that was. I was like, yo, I can't believe they. I mean, it was a pretty messy way, but I was like, man, that was a harsh write off. Like,
Yeah, but nobody
she
cares.
gave
Nobody
her.
care about her like that. Like that. That's all. That's all right. She'd be alright. She'd be alright. I do
Yeah,
like Demetrius's character. Definitely gets more development throughout this season. That was interesting.
oh
Um,
yeah, and Crease, you know, I
Crease's
gotta say,
backstory. Yeah,
maybe because I'm a villain, but I really understand where he's coming from.
yeah.
You know, and I would argue because I've had this argument with other people, like, how can you see where Crease is coming from? He's an asshole, and I go, he was in the fucking Vietnam War. He was in the most thankless war in American history. Those people were treated like shit when they got back. He served his country thinking he was gonna. He got a fucking silver star, and, and then he comes back to a world that doesn't fucking appreciate him. And you expect this man to be okay with all of the experiences and shit he probably went through. And I was like, you know, I can understand that sentiment because, granted, when my unit came back and when we came back, it was a different kind of experience. But it's like people don't understand. You get thanked and everything else, but people don't understand what it is like to actually be in that situation, to lose people. You can't ever put that into words. And
Especially what he went through. Like when they explain everything that he went through and what molded him. Crazy.
it's like, man, if you go through that, how do you come back not feeling like you're fighting a war? And then you come back to a society that's the way it is. And now going into 2020, like, yeah, I like that whole, um, waging war on the snowflakes or however they put it, because it's a different kind of war and it's a different
Snowflakes.
battle.
Yeah, that was funny. That was a funny
Waging war
line.
on snowflakes all the time in Wisconsin for the next fucking how many months? I don't fucking know.
Who knows? Winter came late. We're fucked, PB. That shit was so terrible today. But anyways, it's that's why I never really see Kreese as like, and that's the brilliance of the show. No one in the show is actually a good or bad guy. They're people.
Except for Johnny Lawrence. He's only a good guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Johnny Lawrence was,
Fucking
and I'm
guy.
gonna make a video on this. Johnny Lawrence was the hero of the Karate Kid, and I'm gonna make a video and show you how LaRusso was actually the bad guy in that movie, and Lawrence was the good guy.
So are you
Who,
saying that Johnny Lawrence is the Karate Kid?
yeah, Johnny Lawrence is the Karate Kid, and when you
Because
think
he's
about
not a
how,
pussy.
when you and look at the arc in the first season too, right? When you think about how that fight goes, it's just their battle in reverse, or how it should have went if LaRusso didn't do that illegal kick in the All Valley tournament, which should have got him disqualified, but you know it didn't. And LaRusso got the cushiony life, and Lawrence got fucked over. So I totally.
No, that's because one person had a white coach and one person had an Asian coach. And they're like, well, we don't want to be discriminating against that Asian coach. He's still good. Let him kick away.
And I like what
Yeah,
JD fan said. Wow, LOL.
the jokes, the little jokes that Johnny would throw in were hilarious. Like with Miguel, he's like, "Huh, you can't move, get it? Can't go." It's like, "Don't go nowhere, get it?" Shit was fucked up.
Geekasyle Tendency
Oh, that's
says,
beautiful.
I'll make a counter video to Zod's BS. Lawrence is the hero. But yeah, I mean, no, in all seriousness, the thing this show does right, and I think what resonates with people is, it's like a lot like life, right? Because you have your bullshit rivalries and stuff in high school, and then you grow up and you realize that all of the shit that happens in high school is stupid and pointless and meaningless. At the end of the day, when you grow up, none of it's going to matter, and we're all going to grow. We're going to evolve. We're going to change, and our priorities are going to shift. And at the same time, the choices you make when you're younger do, on some level, impact who you will be as you get older.
You have no proof.
Also, I'd
And,
like to just throw out there, like, I would say the real hero in all this is Miguel. Is the true,
Oh,
the
the
chosen one.
cripple boy.
Tiny Tim, yeah.
yeah, I
Like
would
when
would
Jesus
say
rose
he
from the
is.
dead, he didn't have somebody wheeling him around.
Oh man, that's.
I mean, I can.
PB.
Is that too heavy? I can go less heavy. When Darth Vader rose from being crippled and have somebody wheeling him around.
Jesus Christ. Welcome everybody, and thank you. We've got 7 people watching. This is a great stream, and look,
Not for long.
here's the thing that this show does do right. In all seriousness, the writing has been really tight. The dialogue is good. I can't believe that a show. Just think about this: a show that doesn't have a $200 million budget manages to capture the spirit of the franchise it's based on better than these movies, other shows we've seen that have come out that
That's
have more
that,
money.
that's why I'd be saying, like, budget don't mean shit. What's that story looking like?
Exactly. Like, this is a story that people can connect to. Like, this season had so many good stuff. There are legitimate emotional moments, and I just want to quote an asshole critic who said
Oh, I
that.
thought you were talking about PB.
No, I
Hello.
mean, PB already knows. We both go at. But anyways, no, the critics said, okay, this guy, it was from Insider magazine, one of those hack shells we're always talking about. They said the show trades emotional payoff this year for slapstick comedy, and I'm like, what fucking? I get done watching this, and I go, did I watch a different show, or was I watching something different? Because there was comedy where there needed to be, but there was some points where it just like gut punches you, and you're like, "Oh my god! Like, where did this come from?"
It's
There's
about
real.
karate. It's supposed to punch you in the gut.
I mean, wouldn't you agree, Perp? Like, there's some real,
100%.
there's like real emotional moments, and and this is the same thing that the critics did when the Mandalorian had everybody united, um, in
Which is a
their
good show.
No, it doesn't unite everybody. There's always gonna be one holdout in Australia.
But I mean,
It's
the
from Dave
critics.
Filoni. It's trash. It's felonious.
It's felonious. That's funny.
But I mean, do you guys get the feeling? Okay, and I'm just saying, Mandalorian is my best comparison, but do you guys get the feeling like the critics want these shitty subpar shows to work? So when they see something fans gravitate towards,
Like the
they
Mandalorian.
immediately have to knock it down for the stupidest reasons. Like Perp and me and you, we might have our disagreements about the Mandalorians, but we call out like story issues, right? They'll say something like, "Oh yeah, the women Mandalorian had boobs on her arm," or "Oh my god, they're sexist." Like, what the
It was
fuck
hot.
does that have to
Did
do?
they?
The
Yeah,
one did.
and this, yeah, and it's like, what does that have to do with reviewing the show? Like, if you critique a scene, I understand, but if you
They were
make a
too
stupid
distracted
comment,
by the champ.
like, and it's the same thing with this show. They say, "Oh, Allie is wasted," and it's like there's a very specific purpose why she's in that specific way that she's in it, and it is very pivotal to a lot of things that happen, and it pisses me off because I'm like, where is she? What are you
Guess you
guys
just
talking
spoiled
about?
something again. You just spoiled something again.
I
This
mean,
fucking guy. Anyway, okay, I got a question for you two because I recognize this. Did anybody else, as in the two of you, I mean, if anyone in the chat wants to answer, they can, get a Sam and Bucky vibe at any point during the show?
um, that's actually interesting, Perk, because once again, we're trying to not
What?
give spoilers, but one could maybe conceive of.
No.
Because that's what I got from, what was it? Is either episode 2, episode 3. I was like, man, this is giving me a, hey, can you move your seat up? No.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
good cop, bad cop shit. Yeah, that's just funny.
I got more of a Tango and Cash. Dude, when I heard that reference, I go, "Holy fuck, that was such a great movie." I
And
was like looking
Amanda
up.
was like, but you guys are not cops." That shit was funny.
Like, yeah, I mean, and kudos on that fight scene, man. To have those guys being able to pull off those moves, and from what I hear, like,
Which guys?
LaRusso and Lawrence, to have them fighting the way that they do, it is pretty astonishing. And I hear, I forgot his
Why, didn't
name.
you see the season
The
finale
best
of The
guy.
Mandalorian? Mark Hamill's old as fuck.
Yeah, there's stuff to be said about that. But anyways, like, to see to see the fact that they are able to, and then from what I heard, they did their own stunts for a lot of the show. Like, wow, these guys are 80s actors, and they're like fighting like they're 20.
Oh, I will give you a spoiler though. Keanu Reeves is at the end of this.
Damn it,
I
Perk.
knew
You
it.
just
I fucking knew it was in the Matrix.
oh man, the biggest spoiler. Um JD Fan for Life brought up a good point. Says, yes, so true. They hate everything people love when it gets big, so they tear it apart. Um, I'd agree with that. Like, when the narrative gets broken, when people don't like stories with the narrative in it, and then they embrace what they consider this crude, oh my God, like this crude storytelling. then they want to try to tear it apart, and they're like, oh, they're pandering to fans. Well, yeah, it's a fucking business. If you want to make money, then the logical thing I would think would be to put stuff in a show that's supposed to be for the fans of the franchise in it. I mean, that seems to me
No, no,
the
no, no. You're wrong. You're wrong, man. What you're supposed to do is take everything that they love about that particular IP
Be
and
right back.
subvert your expectations.
I mean, Perp was so
See,
subverted.
that was such a great line. Perp's like, I can't even respond. He's going to say something about Ryan Johnson again. Fuck him.
No, but like, yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example, and why I decided to compare these two, because you look at how just a show is written versus a $250 million movie. Can we both agree that it's kind of funny how a
That
smaller budgeted
that
Netflix show?
that one spent more money on their writer's room.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it feels like. And gigacidal
Like,
tendencies
where
on
did the
whispering because
$250
unicorn.
million go? Because I had to agree with, I believe it was Generation Productions earlier that said it was Wonder Woman Dragon Ball Evolution. Because, holy fuck, if there was not way too many times where I was like, what's going on with the CGI here? This is fucking weird looking.
Yeah, and I mean, this show literally films like 2 episodes in Okinawa, so that's probably a good majority of their budget went to those episodes, right?
I have no
And then
idea what type of tax breaks they give you in Japan to film stuff there. Do you know? They're
no, no,
capitalists.
no, no, not off the top of my head, and I'm sure they enjoyed the promotion. There was some kind of deal cut, but
No,
mm,
but you're right. It costs money to get your entire cast over there, or at least all of the characters that end up going over there, and then the whole crew to film it, because I find it highly unlikely that they got a bunch of local cameramen to film it. Nobody does that.
so I mean, you probably are looking at most of the budget spent on that, right? And then they got Shriver back for an episode or two, and I mean, so they got more because they're on that Netflix budget, but they were really probably delicating a lot of the fight scenes and stuff too. Especially considering how things go. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, it felt like
Well, that's a first.
some of it was scaled down for this season, but yet it feels much bigger than a $250 million movie that should have had completed effects and a tighter story and things like that. And it amazes me because here we are, and this is the question I pose to everyone: which do you think, if you've seen Cobra Kai season 3 versus Wonder Woman, which do you think used their money better? Which one was more entertaining to you? Because I feel like this show I had been waiting for. I'd put a lot of hopes up, and then I saw Wonder Woman, and I was like, "Oh shit, is this going to be?" And then I read what the critics were saying, and I said, "Oh my
I
god."
don't know if that's a
Um,
fair comparison, guy.
I said,
Like
"Is this
Cobra
going to
Kai
let me down?"
is. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. I felt like, man, if Wonder Woman let me down and Cobra Kai simultaneously, it was going to be a shitty start to 2021.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman is a 2020 thing, and Cobra Kai is a 2021 thing. So they're totally disparate, even though they're only separated by 7 fucking days.
Yeah, but I still feel like this was a good way to kick off 2021. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know
this,
if it's fair to compare something that's at minimum twice as long. Because you're talking 10 episodes, and they're all, let's say, roughly 30 minutes, but most of them are over 30 minutes. And the finale, you said, is an hour. So we're talking like 5.5 hours of content, probably pushing closer to 6, because there's a lot of episodes that are like 32, 33, 37 minutes. And I believe there's only 2 that are under 30 minutes compared to a movie that is 2.5 hours with the credits. So I'm gonna
And
have to
hold on a second.
watch Wonder Woman 3 times and watch Cobra Kai once, and then tell you how my 6 or 7 hours was better spent.
I mean, if you want to look at it like that. Hold on, I wanted to give a shout out. Shelby Soup is on my channel. Welcome, Shelby. Great to have
Oh,
you
the soup is
on.
on.
Great to see you here. We're talking Cobra Kai versus Wonder Woman, and look, my comparison is not
Oh,
y-
geek-icidal
you.
tendencies is spoiling all kinds of shit in the chat. Did you know that in season 3 of Cobra Kai, Mr. Miyagi is not a Force ghost?
Shit, oh man. See, damn
Like
it,
the
geek
shit that
aside.
I'm looking forward to, and now I know it's never going to happen. Unbelievable.
But no, I mean, here's my comparison. Okay, it doesn't even have to be length. Okay, yes, Cobra Kai has an advantage because it's got more episodes and more time to flesh out its story. But a good movie has proven that you can make a tight story, tell a beginning, middle, and end in an hour to an hour and a half, to even 2 hours. But I would reference Joker. Joker's what? An hour and a half? 2 hours?
It's like two
Roughly.
hours. I don't know the exact fucking length.
Right? Same running length. But yet when you look at that movie, beginning, middle, end, tells a story, it's done. And it tells the story that people enjoyed. It makes sense in a sense because, we're hearing it from the perspective of a crazy person, but that's the whole story. And that's what I mean. It doesn't necessarily always come down to the length of the story you're telling. It's how you tell the story.
Oh, that's not what
And
the
that's the
ladies tell
difference.
me. They tell me it exclusively comes down to length. I mean, maybe not
Oh, God.
exclusively, but that's the biggest determining factor.
Oh, God. Ladies, you don't have to feel obligated to answer that. Jesus Christ. Anyways, like, I feel like just comparatively, right? Yes, Cobra Kai had a longer time to set up structure and tell us the story. But I asked myself, if I was to say take Wonder Woman #1 and put it back to Cobra Kai, you can make a good argument there for which one's a better told story because Wonder Woman 1 told a very good structured story in a 2 hour time frame. Same exact type of scenario. Now you have 2.5 hours with 84, and yet it's all over the place. Here you have a television show, which, when you think about it, a half hour is not really a lot of time to have an episode.
Hey, Lee Cole in the chat wants to know, why are you whispering?
Mainly because the woman has to get up for work tomorrow, so I can't be my normal loud self.
No, I know how to read the word whispering without the H.
But yeah, I mean, when you look at story structuring, when you look at how events play out, um, even with and let's not kid ourselves, Cobra Kai has some pretty fantastic stuff happen that couldn't happen in real life, but yet the way they tell the story is tightly constructed, and the actors act really well. Whereas with Wonder Woman, the acting range was all over the place. So, I mean,
You thought the acting was all over the place in Wonder Woman? Like they weren't acting like themselves?
no, more of the characters were kind of schizophrenic. Like, for instance, look at Maxwell Lord, right? 1 minute he's like this kind of talking fast, all over the place, right? And then when they switch him to the villain, he doesn't feel like very imposing. You know what I mean? Take Ares, for instance, right? In the first Wonder Woman. I brought that
Okay.
switch because the guy didn't have to overdo it. He still talked the same way and had the same mannerisms he did in the beginning of the film. But when you watch that film and you watch his character, you kind of figure that there's something different about him, right? There's something, even though he's like helping them out, you still have this feeling like he's not who he appears to be. And then when the reveal is dropped, he doesn't go over the top with it. Now you take Maxwell Lord in '84. That
You
that
don't
dude
think
is like,
Ares goes over the
whoa.
top in his movie?
No, I don't think he goes like acting wise over the top. He doesn't like do such a jarring switch like Maxwell Lord does. Like Pedro really tries hard with
Well,
that.
Pedro's a tryhard.
Yeah,
He's
and
like, I
and
don't want to
it's
get my head crushed again.
and it's like it's like there's that's the difference, from acting, like good solid acting with someone who's directing the script tight and giving you cues like, okay, this is, and now you do that, that kind of like tight leadership where I felt like '84 had a very schizophrenic story and no real direction at all times. Like it felt like it almost felt like different
So
people, right?
you're in the group of people that doesn't understand how it's the same people that made Wonder Woman 84 that made the original Wonder Woman. And then, oh gosh, I've seen some moron on the internet say, that's because Zack Snyder's not involved. And I went, holy
Oh,
fucking
Jesus
shit, man.
Christ. Of course, and here's the thing, people are going to say that, look, I hate to break your guys' illusions, okay?
Zack Snyder ain't got
We're
nothing
gonna
to do with the first Wonder Woman.
Zack Snyder has nothing to do with this, and Zack Snyder is not a great director that you guys put him up on. Zack Snyder is good at directing action. He is terrible at writing. Like his story is, I'd say his story is worse than anything in '84. Honestly, like I liked Man of Steel, and that was it. You watch BVS and tell me that he's a even remotely, like, Jesus Christ, look at Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, and you tell me he knows how to write, you know. God,
I will not
I
tell
don't.
you that. In fact, I could do a fucking 10-hour long stream on how Jesse Eisenberg is by far the worst Lex Luthor. And that's including gay Lex Luthor. I hope everybody gets that.
I sadly do. Um, I mean, and this is the problem that I have with '84. I wouldn't put it on like it's the worst DC film. Like people who say that, you're crazy. Like Suicide Squad, BBS, those were all bad. Justice League, Jesus Christ, those were all bad movies. But I wouldn't say that it was uh, the best that DC has to offer. And that's my comparison here, where I
Yeah,
watched this and the writing's still.
Lee Cole said in the chat that he watched the first 3 episodes of Cobra Kai. Pretty boring so far. Okay. I don't see it, and I'm not even that far in. I don't see how it's boring. Like, do you expect them to continuously be doing karate? It's not karate tournament. That's not what the show is. The show is about the character development and the story built around them. The karate is just a vessel for telling the story. It can't be the
Wow.
sole focus, or else you'll get lost. Oh, there's something going on in the background there.
Oh man, you actually you sounded like a real critic there for a second.
It doesn't take much to sound like a real critic when most of the critics are hollow fucking shills.
That's very true. That's very true. But anyways, me personally, I think that Cobra Kai was the best out of these two. I really liked it. I think I like the direction that it's going in, without giving uh, too much away. Dad, stop trolling us. Anyways,
What is he just watching season 3? He he
no,
did watch season 1 and 2, and now he's just picking up at season 3. He's like, this is boring. I don't care about Cripple Boy.
no, he's watched all of them. He's just starting season 3, so.
Well, then I don't. I just started season 3 too. We're in the exact same boat. It wasn't boring to me. There's been action, there's been comedy, there's been drama in every episode so far. And as the two of you were talking about earlier, there's been real consequences, not just, oh, well, things were bad for a time, but we're good to go now. Nope.
Oh yeah, there was actually consequences for what happened previously, and there will continue to be throughout the story. So, I mean, I liked it. I like where it's going, and I can't wait for season 4. But what I'm gonna come back and kind of do some more on this. I definitely can't wait to do a video on the real hero of the Karate Kid, which is Johnny Lawrence. And when I make that video, I will explain.
Well, wouldn't that make the real hero John Kreese? Because he's the man that taught him everything he knows.
That would be interesting. Maybe I could do a video on that too, how Kreese is actually not the villain of the story, but just misunderstood.
The most misunderstood villain on Netflix. He's more misunderstood than what's her face? What's Jason Bateman's wife's name? It's Wendy something. What the hell's their last name?
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Dad would know.
She's a fucking villain.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely.
If we're going Netflix to Netflix.
Oh yeah. If you guys haven't seen Ozark's final season, oh my god, it's gonna be. I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of people dying. But anyways, we definitely
okay. Hold on
that.
Right. I got an easy question for you. Now that there is 3 full seasons of both shows, which show do you like better? Ozark or Cobra Kai?
Oh man.
Wendy Bird. Thank you, wife.
Oh man. The Karate Kid in me loves and will always love Cobra Kai. But if we're talking about technically from a story structure standpoint and gritty, raw realism and a consistently good story, I'd have to say Ozarks, because the writing on that is kind of a different type of writing. It's more of that Breaking Bad, really quality writing. And it's hard to compare the two because they're vastly different shows, like even writing style.
Oh, but you can compare. Wait.
Sopranos.
Hold on. You're telling me you can't compare a show on Netflix to a show on Netflix, but you can compare a show on Netflix to a movie that, yes, it was released to streaming, but it was also released in theaters, and it's about magical comic book stuff. But you can compare
Um,
those two, but you can't come on.
oh, absolutely, because the
Oh
whole
my
point of
god.
the comparison is how sad that this show could uh, be higher quality and be better than a movie that has a bigger budget and should have more time,
Okay,
care,
so then we
technical
could just
aspects to it.
start you could just start making a list of shows that is better than movies with a higher budget. Is that what you really want to do?
I mean, nowadays, and this brings us back to a conversation we've had before on the channel. Nowadays, you really could pick out television shows that have less budget, right? They're only broadcast on TV, but have been better than movies, which is sad because back in the day, movies were the benchmark to what everything wanted to be. Now it seems reversed. Now it seems like
I mean,
television is becoming a benchmark and movies are just
I
being relegated
don't
to the back.
know. I don't know what they're calling the DC Universe shows anymore since DC Universe is no longer a thing when it comes to TV shows. But I would say that it's quite possible all of the DC Universe shows are better than this Wonder Woman.
I mean, I wouldn't argue except for fuck Supergirl. You know how I feel about that. But
No,
I
no, no.
mean,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
or
whoa. I
Batwoman.
said DC. Dude, you're not listening to what I said. I said the DC Universe shows, as in the ones that were on the streaming service that no longer exists. Which is why I said I don't know what they call those shows because some of them went to HBO Max and some of them went to CW, but they were all in the same vein and they were all top notch shows. They're not at the same caliber of the DC shows in the Arrowverse. I know what the fuck those shows are called. They're the Arrowverse shows. I wasn't talking about those.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Like, even those shows, you could see where they had more of a budget than, say, the Arrowverse does. But I mean, even the story writing is generally better. I
Oh,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. The
Titans is up in the
story
air,
in
but
those are, yeah, Titans is a little wishy washy here and there because I was like, oh, that was a hard left turn or a hard right turn. I didn't see that coming, but okay, I guess I'll get on board. But the other ones, like, okay, I don't think they're gonna be making any more Swamp Thing, but you never know. That entire season, everything makes sense in that season. Then you watch both seasons of Doom Patrol. I never know what's going on in that fucking show, and I love it. And then you watch Stargirl, which is essentially an entire season that is anti socialism, which I love.
yeah, I mean, JD Fan for Life says Harley Quinn. I love the Harley Quinn show too, and that's animated. But yet, the humor and the production of the
Yeah,
animation
they stole
is
our
very good.
villain, them fuckers.
yeah, yeah, they certainly did.
He
But
better come back. I'll be very upset if he don't come back by season 4. He needs to be back by season 4. Because season 3, they're going to be dealing with the candle maker the whole time. Or whatever the fuck that thing is.
but like, but here's the thing that I would pose to everyone, and this is my overall debate, right? Is that, like I said, movies used to be the benchmark of high quality, but somewhere along the line, television has switched up the game. and it's become uh, more top tier than $250 million made
Well, you
movies.
know who you
And there's
can
something wrong with that.
blame for that, right?
Zack Snyder.
No. Oh my God.
I was waiting for you to catch
No,
that.
I was going to say that I would say the biggest catalyst in that was Netflix. I mean, they spend all of their money making new stuff all the time. The only thing that makes it appear that they're profitable is that their stock price keeps going up and up and up, and then it divides, and then it goes up and up and up, and then it divides. You know, that's how the stock market works. I don't entirely understand it, but I'm not a fucking accountant, so I don't need to.
And here's the sad part about this whole thing is that Netflix has taken
If
even the
you
most.
fucking flush the goddamn toilet without muting yourself, I'm driving down there and shoving my foot up your ass.
And now here's the sad part about this. I mean, even take a show like Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, right? And look at the new one they made. Everything they do, they've adopted a model, which is interesting. They came up with the idea of making television shows with an actual budget to cast actually good actors and or actresses, and they've even done it with movies. I mean, look at the movies they've come out with themselves, and Hollywood doesn't want to acknowledge them because of the bullshit theory that, oh, you have to have a Hollywood budget to be considered a movie. And why? Why do you have to have a 200 million or $250 million budget that
So
you?
that you're legitimate.
Yeah, yeah,
So that you
and
appear
that's
legitimate, because spending $55 million on your movie isn't enough. Unless, you
and
know, you get a
and
walking Firebird.
PB, when did the budget for these shitty movies get expanded to that much? I mean, and Dad's actually in this chat. He could probably answer in this, but
That you can blame on Zack Snyder. He's like, hey, you guys have no idea how much it costs to do all this polishing on my CGI. Like, I need $70 million for, drum roll, please, an extra 4 to 5 minutes. The fuck?
like the movies of the old days, I can almost guarantee, even if you place their budget and put it into modern terms, wouldn't even come up to what half the amount is that they put into these shitty blockbuster movies that they spit out 6 or 7 or 8 at a time that are absolute trash, right? Fast 18 and fucking
They're on 18 already? I thought I
God,
checked out when Paul Walker drove away into the sunset and then caught on fire.
yeah, I mean, like, all these franchises, Jumanji 3, the remake of the remake of the remake of the remake.
Oh, that was, I seen somebody post that fucking meme and I laughed my ass off. It was, how did it go exactly? I think it was 2020's last word, Jumanji.
And I'm inclined to believe this
Your
giant
dad
piece of
seems pretty dead set, yeah, on it being the Chinese. The Chinese, the Chinese, the Chinese. I was told by Uncle Joe that it's the Chinese.
And I mean, and here's the thing, though. There is credibility to this argument because what
Oh, sorry. I
what
didn't mean to start laughing. I read the comment from Geekicidal Tendencies. No, not too soon. He said the $70 million was for Zach's cocaine budget. Batman's off the wagon.
And here's the scary thing, though. People say, oh, when you talk about it being towards like the Chinese market, might right, that's all conspiracy. But then look at what Disney did
Dun
with
dun
Mulan.
dun.
They 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 actually gave credence to that argument because that movie, and they don't even try to hide it, that movie was specifically targeted towards the Asian market. And they've said in several interviews
Which movie?
they were
Crazy Rich
targeting
Asians?
uh that was too. But yeah. Jamie Vick
Or are you
says,
talking about Aquaman?
I mean, I don't know about Aquaman. I would argue that's
Aquaman made
wonderful.
over $200 million in China. It made more money in China than in any other country on the planet. Of the $1.1 billion it made.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. And that's the thing. Like, this is the thing where uh they're killing it with shows like this because these are shows that are being budgeted here and not marketed towards that. I mean, granted, Netflix does translate everything for different countries and stuff like that, but that's more for people who are watching from, you know, other regions so they can understand what's going on. I mean, it's different than specifically making something to target that market.
You're going to target a
And
market.
but and I think that's the difference. And the more you see films trying to do what Wonder Woman does and all these high budget movies are doing, the more you see films trying to specifically target these markets, the more they're I think they're going to be hurting the movie industry, and why shows like this is going to thrive because people are connecting to um, they're connecting more to these projects that are being made here, that are actually putting quality and time and effort into their work, as opposed to a $250 million movie that was made, uh, that gave complete creative control. This felt like what they did with George Lucas on the prequels. They just said, "You're Patty Jenkins, make the movie, and we're not going
Oh
to
my
stop you."
God. Lemon Pie said, "Is this now an ASMR channel?" Son of a bitch, Zod. Now you got people thinking that you're doing some weird quiet talking in the background as to not disturb the unicorn.
And welcome everybody to the smooth sounds of General Zod at night.
Oh my God,
We're
these are
here
not
talking about
smooth sounds of General Zod. Yes,
we're
welcome back to the douchey sounds of General Zod, your favorite C-level villain. What does the C stand for? I'm not going to say it because I'm pretty sure Jamie Vick is still listening, and we said we wouldn't.
yeah, so respect. But anyways, I think we've gotten out all the things that we've wanted to tonight. I
No, we
think
haven't. I haven't said the one thing that I wanted to say all fucking night because I was
okay, go
trying
ahead.
to talk in between a villain and a black man, and holy fuck if it's not tough to get a word in edgewise sometimes. I mean, granted, my dogs were fighting for a while and making noise, so I had to mute myself, but shit happens from time to time. Anybody out there, and I don't know if people here do, because I'm sure your dad doesn't. He's too busy playing fantasy basketball to be watching Robot Head. But he's got, at last check, it's like 260 some thousand subscribers. And he did a review of Wonder Woman. And I assumed that it was going to be somewhat along the lines of his review of The Last Jedi or something like that. And I was like, oh, he's going to have found a bunch of little mistakes here and there, and he's going to make fun of it, and I'm going to be able to laugh. But instead of that happening, he decides to apparently bold face lie in the review of things that he believes doesn't make sense because they're not explained when they are. One prime example, he says that Wonder Woman having the armor at the end of the movie is just, it just magically appears out of nowhere, which is a load of crap because earlier in the movie she tells the exact story of how she acquired the armor and why she acquired the armor. Like, it's completely covered, and I don't know if he fell asleep watching the movie or if he got up to make a sandwich or had to go to the bathroom and was gone for a few minutes. Like, I don't know what happened to him, but there are several lies in one review. I was very disappointed because I'm a big fan. I love just about everything that he's ever done. It's hilarious videos with high fucking production value. But I can't get on board with somebody coming out there to his hundreds of thousands of subscribers because I don't know if they're all fans. I'm sure he's got some people that are subscribed just to hate on him, but whatever. And just come out and lie to people the way that you do. It's very disappointing. And I'm going to make a video on it, tearing apart exactly what the lies are.
And you know what? I just want to cover something like we have, um, we have, we have our disagreements, and we disagree with what critics say, or sometimes those very rare occasions we might agree with some things that they say, but we both agree on one thing and can't stand one thing is when people want to come out and make videos and they want to gaslight.
You want to jump on the hate train.
Yeah, and they don't want to give logical reasons. They don't want to break down scenes for you. It's kind of like just fueling a fire just to fuel it, and it annoys me because the same thing happened with Onward. I did a whole video about it, and I specifically pointed out Geeks and Gamers when they were like, oh, they made a reference to the character being gay. And if you watch the movie, it was a very quick reference and it wasn't anything that offensive. But channels came on and they talked about how this was such a big offensive thing. And I called them out. And even in circles that we might like or respect, if someone comes out and they present you folks with non-factual information and claims it to be fact, well, that's no different than the media we are opposing. We have to be truthful because the show media is not going to tell you any form of the truth unless it lines up with their political agenda or their narrative pushing motivations. We, as content creators, we got to be responsible to our audience. And I mean, you guys hear all the time, PB will call me out if I get something wrong. And I appreciate that because if I'm not remembering
fucking
something
exhausting.
right, I mean, if I'm not remembering something right, PB, or I'm not stating something exactly in the context.
She told Professor X to fuck off.
Hey, you know what? That was, don't get me started on Dark Phoenix. That was in context. And you know what? That whole movie gave Professor X a big middle finger. Don't get me started on Dark Phoenix, okay? Don't make me go back to that place.
All you
That
had to do was say
so
metaphorical. If you said the exact same sentence and used the word metaphorical, or it felt like, or something along those lines, I would have been like, oh, well, that's the feeling he got from the scene, instead of trying to give me what I thought was an exact quote from the movie. And I was like, they dropped a fucking F bomb. Like, there ain't no way any of these X-Men outside of Captain Claus here be dropping an F bomb at Professor X. And even then, it'd be pushing it. Like, the only person I would know that would do it isn't an X-Men. He's just an X-Men trainee.
No, that's fair enough. Jamie Vick, I like how she puts it. She says it's criticism versus critique, and that's true. And here's the problem with this, that YouTubers and regular, and I'm doing air quotes, checkmark critics have to be careful with. If you are saying something is a critique, right, it is different than a criticism, because I can have a personal criticism or make my criticism personal of something that I don't like, i.e., Black Panther. But if I'm critiquing it, I gave it a 7. You joke about it, but honestly, I gave it an honest score. But personally, I don't like the film, right? But you can't let your personal bias influence the critique of the film, because the critique is the narrative and the production and things like that, the structural things, the physical things you can see, the tangible that you can see wrong with the film, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot that
that's
goes
why
into
I
it.
thought there was going to be some type of tearing apart, like the Last Jedi, when you see the fucking blade disappear, and they're like, "Look at this mistake," and I was like, "Oh my god." That's what I thought I was going to see. I was like, "Oh, well, there's going to be some editing mistakes. There's going to be some weird things that have happened that I didn't notice, whatever." And to be fair, there are some criticisms in the video that I I was like, okay, well, that's your opinion of what's happening, and I can't argue your opinion. I can give my opinion, and we'd be able to have a discussion about it, but I can't outright say that you're wrong in your interpretation. But when you say there was no explanation for something 2 or 3 times for multiple things when there was, that's just a lie.
Exactly. Geekicidal Tendencies put it best when he said, it always starts with, in my opinion. Exactly. And that's the problem, because when you're critiquing and you're giving stuff wrong with the movie structurally, or, maybe there's an effect off, that's not opinion, then that is things you are pointing out that are physical flaws, or
I
uh,
love my physical flaws.
yeah, physical flaws, or things that can actually be seen visually. Like, we can say, for instance, Wonder Woman 1984, that cheetah makeup looks like cats. It's fucking terrible. And you
Hey,
can see the
it
picture
do, it
because we
does
did the
it
close
does
up.
definitely it does definitely seem like it's cats inspired, but it does not look as bad as cats. But that might have to do with the lighting. They're never in like a fully lit environment once she goes full cheetah.
Exactly, which I think they did on purpose, because when you see that fight, like the scenes where they're fighting in the dark, it looks passable. It's entertaining. But once you see like shades of light or something's lit up, even the choreograph kind of falters with the way that the fight's going down. And I mean, these are all physical problems wrong with the film. The CGI, that's very noticeable. The lasso of truth ranges from being cool looking, like that scene where she's deflecting bullets with it, to being fucking terrible looking, like when she ropes up Maxwell Lord and uses it like I don't know, a microphone to everyone in the world. Like stuff like that. You can point out those things and give the scene and how it looks. And you know what I mean? There are actual problems within the CGI where it is
No, yeah.
visibly um inconsistent.
No, the problems that I had with the CGI, I would say, gosh, 90% or more had to do with people moving through the air. Like it's something about it, even with the supernatural aspect, still didn't feel right from the beginning. Like right from that first time when she comes over the banister or whatever on the lasso.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about? Okay, so
yeah,
she
that
comes
looked
over the
terrible.
banister and her body isn't moving at all, and she just kind of lands flat. And I was like, wait a second, what? How in the fuck can you be swinging on a lasso but keeping this body shape to you? I was like, oh, that's because you're wired up.
And
Fucking A.
that's what I mean. You can tell the physical inconsistencies versus, just an opinion, right? You can the cheetah fight, you can almost put it in kind of an opinion thing
I'd have to
because of
watch
how
it
it's
again.
shot. Yeah, there is a way you can argue that the scene is good or the scene is bad, but that scene you pointed out, it's technically flawed because of the fact of how the body moves is unnatural to what she should move like, lassoing up. She should have some range of motion. Like you should see her jumping up and then landing with her back kind of arched, right? Like, they joke around the superhero jump, when you see, like, say, Thor land or something like that. You know what I mean? You see them change positions. But in that scene, she doesn't change her position to fit the range of movement she's using. And these are
It's so
all,
weird looking.
I know, it's structural problems within the film. And folks, that's the difference between what Jamie Vick said earlier, between just, criticism versus a critique. Like, for instance, even with story, we can criticize elements of the story just because we don't like it. You know what I mean? Where you can critique a story for holes within the way the story is told, like someone just appears somewhere. You know what I'm saying, or kind of get what I mean? Like an opinion of a particular scene because you don't like what the scene is saying versus an actual fucking hole in the story and how the scene is constructed are two very different things. And I think
Yeah.
that's where you have the disconnect between, and I'm doing air quotes, the critics versus, us actually. I feel like we watch the movie and they just watch whatever.
No, I would have to. Now I need to make a list of, oh gosh, just DCEU movies. So I guess I can get rid of the Zack Snyder movies because he's got his own universe now. But some of them are in both universes. Like you got to draw DC movies like a fucking Venn diagram. It's so goddamn confusing. Anyway, and see where I rank this new one because I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it's not a bad movie with serious problems through it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting study. I mean, it really is because you can't really. I mean, the critics have been hitting it very hard, but
Like
I
I
feel like,
like oh okay, go ahead, sorry.
they're not coming at it. Like some of the stuff they point out is valid, but I feel like you always feel like there's an agenda for why they're critiquing it the way that they are.
No,
So
it's always going to be linked to this time period because of the way too many people see the caricature of the president.
and I mean,
That's what it is. Maxwell Lord is a caricature of Donald Trump because somebody watched the documentary and went, "Oh, that's who he is. I can write that character." I mean, I like the aspect of the film that Wonder Woman is not fighting the person at the top. Like, you don't fight Lex Luthor, you fight Metallo. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like she can't fight. Okay, let's be real. She can't fight Maxwell Lord because he's just a dude at the end of the day.
He's just a
Cheetah
dude.
is the fight. I mean, because if she punches Maxwell Lord, she's gonna punch his like spine out of his body. So I mean,
Right,
at the end of
and
the
then how do you use the stone?
day. So I mean, yeah, it's it's so you have the fight,
No,
which
I
is
like
Cheetah.
that aspect of her fighting the number one henchman, and I bet there's somebody out there that would they could give you a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fucking analogy to it, because that's what they're always like, right? You never fight Rita Repulsa, you never fight Lord Zed, but you do fight Goldar, and that's the fight you're always looking for. That's ridiculous looking cheetah.
But I mean, and that it was my comparison between what you got in Cobra Kai season 3 versus what you have in Wonder Woman 1984. And folks, feel free to leave me comments and let me know what you think of our comments, our
Oh, Vinny
critiques.
said exactamundo to something that I said, and I don't know what it was, but I will take it.
And thank you everybody who's been watching. And look, I'm at 530 subs. I want to just take the time
Jesus
out before.
fucking Christ. Toss some of them my way. Be like, hey, if you want to hear something that's not about Amber Heard, go listen to this ginger fuck.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone because this has been a great community. Rallying behind Amber Heard being her atrocious individual. And yeah, definitely if you guys wanna check out some funny content from a dear friend of mine over here, Mr. Pop Culture PB, go
Dude,
check
I'm
out his
putting
channel.
one out in like an hour. It's only going to be a minute long, and it's going to pose a question to everybody who watches it.
Ooh, so go and check it out. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I put in the GoFundMe.
Amber turd.
I put in the can we have a Wonder Woman?
Oh, who to
Can we
pick? Who to pick then? Um,
literally
gosh,
anyone? I like
Kerry
Amelia Clark.
Washington. Amelia Clark is white.
I know. I'm just saying. I like that comparison. I don't know if we want to go that whole route because they're gonna pick the worst person in the opposite direction. So you know,
Oh, your pops wants you to talk about the show tomorrow.
yeah, he's impatient. Anyways, so go check out Pop Culture PV. Check out his video he's got coming out. I guarantee you that it'll be funny. See, I'm gonna put a lot on Pop Culture PV right now. If you don't laugh, then he has failed you as the entertainer that he is.
Hey, I am 100% confident that everybody in this chat will laugh at least one line in this 1 minute video.
So go check out the 1 minute video. I mean, if you don't like it, you only lose a minute of your life, which is
It's
I
gonna be,
lost two
I mean, yeah,
hours. So
you ain't gotta watch the outro. You ain't gotta watch the outro, but it's gonna be on there for anybody that ends up watching in the future. You never know.
and come by tomorrow and check out me and Ned are going to do a talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I invite PB, but I already know he doesn't care. So we're going to talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, Kevin
Dude, you
Spacey,
tell
and just
Stevie that I miss him.
and I'll tell Stevie that you miss him. But we're going to talk about this, and we're also going to talk about something else very important. Other people who have been railroaded, as well as Johnny Depp, and not only the other actors, but the fact that
Ooh, you guys are
Hollywood,
watching a adult video?
oh God, no. But not only that, but
Oh, that
how,
not that kind of real. My mistake. Sorry.
but also how Harvey Weinstein was allowed, and even encouraged by people in Hollywood. And yet, years later, now they want to point out and they want to throw innocent people under the bus for stuff that they've been doing for years, for the cesspool that Hollywood has been. But now they're sacrificing all these people at the altar of woke SJW politics. And this has been going on for years. And we're going to give you several examples. We're going to go through all of this stuff, and you'll be shocked to know how long this has been going on, how hypocritical Hollywood has been. And thank you, Vinny. I appreciate that. You will be
Yes, Nell before Zod.
you will be shocked, and it will give a new perspective to this whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp um, that's going on, because this is just one of the latest things, and now it's backfiring on Hollywood. People are seeing through their bullshit. They're seeing through the lies, and now the truth is starting to show. And when you see the ugliness that is going on, that has been going on, you're going to realize this isn't the first time Hollywood has thrown someone under the bus, and how they claim to care about the gay community, but they've used people being gay as a weapon against them. That's right. We're going to expose all of this tomorrow night, so don't miss it. It's going to
Cool.
be
What? Why do you
just,
have Talking Depp with Stevie J. Raw in your movie reviews frickin' folder
I don't know how
or
that got in there.
playlist? You
I
don't
don't know
know
how
how
that got
to
in there.
change it?
I know how to change. You know what? Jesus Christ.
I don't think you know how to do anything. Like I've asked you to do so many simple things, and you're like, copy paste doesn't work with my Kryptonian fingers.
Anyways, thank you very much for watching. We've laughed. We've had a good time. It's always fun to come to it, you guys. But I just want to leave you with something Vinny has said to take us out of here. Remember the only rule here in the fandom zone: kneel before General Zod.
That's not what he said. He said Nell, you putz.